Hello class 10, welcome to history lecture. Today we are going to do Gora by Rabindranath Tagore, and we'll see the importance of Gora in spreading nationalism. So what we see is that how this novel Gora inculcate a feeling of nationalism among the Indian people that we will deal with. So we should know that Gora is a novel written by Rabindranath Tagore, and in 1910 it was published, that we have to remember. So it was in 1910 that the Gora was published, and it was a very complex novel which you can give in your introduction. It was one of the most complex novel among all the novel of Rabindranath Tagore, and it was the 12th novel written by Rabindranath Tagore. So here what we see is that this is one of the most important novel of Tagore through which he spread the idea of nationalism, true nationalism, that is love for the country, the feeling for the nation. This idea Rabindranath Tagore is trying to spread to the Indian youth in the Indian society through his novel Gora. So this was one of the most complex novel. The idea is not very simple, and what we see is that through this novel, Tagore writes this novel, and through it he tried to portray the dilemma in the mind of the Indian youth regarding the social, political as well as religious matter. So we see that in his novel Gora, Tagore had tried to portray this socio-political as well as religious dilemma in the mind of the Indian youth, the doubts which they have, the doubts which the Indian youths have in their mind regarding society, regarding politics, and regarding the religion. This has been mainly dealt in this novel Gora. And what we see is that this novel also reaches the mind of the Indian people to prove that humanity is much more greater than any other thing. That also Tagore tries to preach or propagate, that humanity is a much larger and greater thing than anything else. So he is mainly upholding the value of humanity, and also he is upholding the values of true nationalism. So he is trying to spread nationalism, and he is also going against the belief which was then prevalent in the society that religion is important. Tagore is against this belief that religion has any important role to play. So here we see that Gora is the main protagonist of the novel. Gora is the main protagonist of the novel, or the hero of the novel, and through this character Tagore had tried to show the situation in our society and what is the true nature of nationalism, or what is true nationalism, that he has tried to show through this character Gora. So we have to remember that this word Gora means a very strict or staunch believer in some ideas. That is the meaning of the word Gora, that is strict or staunch. Now here what we see is that Gora is someone who is a very patriotic person. He loves his country very much, and he is willing to serve his country so much. Also we see that he is ready or willing to give away anything for the love of his nation, for the love of his country. But he has another side as well. He is not only a true nationalist, he loves his country, so he is a nationalist. He has another side, that is, he is a religious bigot also. Religious bigot means he is a staunch believer of Hindu religious ideals or Hindu religious principle. He strictly believed them, and he believed that that every person should follow the principle of the religion to be a real nationalist, to be a real lover of country. People have to obey their religion. That is what Gora believed. But we see that how this idea changes, that we will see. So what we see, Gora has two sides. On one side he is a very true and patriotic person. On the other side he is a religious bigot who blindly follows the religious injunctions, and who is very proud of his being a Hindu, who believes in caste and creed of Hindu religion, and he is also proud of his caste, which is the upper caste Brahmin he belonged to. So he was very much proud about his own caste. So in this novel, what we see is that here Tagore brings about a twist, and there we see Gora comes to know about his origin. So Gora was of the belief that he belonged to the Brahmin caste of the Hindu society. Now suddenly the truth was revealed to him, and he came to know that these Hindu parents for whom he has so much pride, these parents are not his real parents, and he actually belongs to an English parents. So after knowing this truth, his idea is completely shaken and he completely became rootless. So there comes the change in Gora, who was a very bigot person, who was a strict believer in Hindu or religious ideologies. He changes his idea. There he sees that even after knowing this truth, the love which he had for his country, for India, this love is still the same. So he realized that his love for the country is greater than any religion. So when he came to know the truth, he realized that he does not belong to this Hindu society for which he had so much pride. Because according to the religious principles, he does not fall in any caste of the Hindu society. He is not a Hindu at all. But even after knowing this, his love for his nationalism, for his own country remains intact. So thus he realized that religion has nothing to do with nationalism, and he now started preaching that religion is not important, but nationalism, love for one's nation is important. And also we see he started preaching that humanity is much greater, larger humanity is more important than any religious belief. So it is actually Rabindranath Tagore who is propagating or preaching these ideas through his character, through the main character of his novel, Gora. There we see that now Gora, after knowing the truth, Gora started dedicating his life for the good of the country, for the betterment of the country. He started doing so much charitable work, so much nationalistic work for the sake of his country. So he started dedicating his whole life for the sake of the country. And also we see he now started preaching that religion is not important, but nationalism or love for one's own country is important. That is where the change come in him. So after knowing the truth, we see religion become completely valueless to him, and nationalism, the love which he had for his country, that became even more deeper. Because he realized that even after knowing that he has gone to the English parents, his love for India did not change. There he came his realization that though he does not belong to the Hindu society anymore, the Hindu religious principles doesn't accept him as a part of the Hindu society, but the nation for which he has love, that is same. He can still fight for the freedom of his country. He can do so much for his country, that is India. So here we see that Gora's idea is preached as a true national, true patriot, and through this Tagore had tried to preach diversity of universal language, diversity of humanism. That is, universal humanism is what Tagore is trying to preach through his novel. That is, humanity is much greater and humanity is universal. Here we have diversity of language, diversity of religion, diversity of origin, but humanity is over and above all this. That is what Tagore has tried to show and portray through his novel Gora. And also we see that the message which Gora gives in the end of the novel, that for serving our country we need to be liberal, and we need to have a wider thought, and we don't need to serve any particular religion for serving the country. Rather, we need to serve humanity for serving the country. So that is what Gora preached and that is the final message which we get from the novel Gora. So there we see through this message which Gora is preaching, these messages are actually given to the Indian youth. These messages are given to the Indian society, and through this Tagore had tried to uphold the larger humanity rather than the narrow beliefs, the bigot principles of any particular religion. So we see that Gora had been successful in instilling a sense of true nationalism among the people of India. Thank you.